All right, chemistry students, this is 8.1 energy. This was a very quick lesson. It was just basically an introduction to energy. Before I start telling you guys about energy and calculating energy in chemistry, I wanted to, just kind of remind us and have us review what energy is. Energy, as we'll define it in this class, is the ability to do work. Work in this class, at least we're going to say, is just to move things, okay? So basically, energy is the ability to move things. Specifically, in chemistry class, what we'll be interested is in the movement of particles, of molecules, of atoms. And so that's what we'll be focusing in on. But just, again, to overview the types of energy, two major types of energy. There's potential and kinetic. Potential I like to think of as the ability to do work in the future. Let's just say to move things in the future, whereas kinetic is more so moving things right now. Moving things right now. So, within that, there's a bunch of different things that you can do. Now, one thing to note is that potential can be converted to kinetic and kinetic can be converted to potential. So, these two categories, these two boxes I'm giving you are not as hard and fast, and there can be some wiggle room and or debate even with some of these. But I like to think of it, and you can think of it as the ability to move things in the future versus moving things right now. That can help you sort it out. And so kinetic, things that are kinetic energy are things like thermal energy, heat, thermal, that is moving things right now in this moment, right? For example, the energy from the sun, the heat from the sun, what it's doing is it's causing the particles on this earth, on this planet, to move and thus, for us to feel warm. And so thermal heat energy, that is moving things right now, that's kinetic. Potential, whereas potential includes things like chemical energy. Chemical energy is the energy in bonds of things. So the energy stored in bonds of molecules. So for example, if you have H2, right, that's a hydrogen bonded to another hydrogen, right? There is energy, it turns out, inside of this bond. And so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about chemical. Some other examples of potential energy are things like gravitational energy. The ability to move things in the future as a result of gravity. So for example, the common example is, if you have a little toy car, horrible toy car, but and it's on a ramp, right? It has a lot of gravitational potential energy, right? If we give it a little push, it'll go down this ramp, right? And that's all due to gravity. Things will be moved due to gravity, gravitational potential energy. Other things that are potential energy include things such as nuclear energy, the energy stored in the nucleus of atoms. I gave a little lesson on this in class, but basically E is equal to mc squared is referring to the energy we create as a result of taking neutrons in the nucleus and converting that to nuclear binding energy that keeps the atom's nucleus together, which is what we utilize in order to make bombs and kill people, but also to power homes. So some good stuff there. Some other examples now. Let's go back to kinetic, things that are moving right now. Kinetic energy, you can think of mechanical or motion energy. So mechanical or motion energy. Basically, mechanical energy is something such as any sort of machine moving and pushing things. So for example, if you have, a robot or even like a car and its tires are moving, we call that mechanical energy. Motion energy is kind of similar. Anytime we cause something to move as a result of giving it energy, it now has motion energy, active kinetic energy. And so there's some of the different types of energies. There's a bunch of other types, right? Like you can think of electricity, right? And electricity, there can be a little bit of debate whether it's potential or kinetic. I would put it here because it's moving at the moment. But if you store that electricity in a battery, where we call it that is called chemical batteries, chemical battery. That's another type of, or sorry, I think it's chemical voltaic. Sorry, that's what it's called. Chemical voltaic potential energy. But so yeah, these are some of the different types of energies. You know, what we'll really be focused on in this class, though, is we're going to be taking a look at a lot of chemical. We're going to be taking a lot at thermal and heat, which is why I started off with those. And so, just to end this off for you, I want to say energy and chem. What we're going to be looking at, our focus is on thermal heat energy, and then chemical potential energy. When we're taking a look at thermal heat energy, what we're looking at is saying, hey, how are we able to cause our particles, like if we have a magnesium particle, right, how do we cause that to move? And oftentimes that's due to thermal heat energy. And then when we're taking a look at chemical potential, what we're saying is, you know, if you have something like hydrogen, right, how much energy is stored in that bond, how much energy is needed to break that bond, and how much energy is released when that bond is formed. And so that's the basics of energy in chemistry. I hope that helps. Again, there's not too much, to be honest, with this lesson. It's just a little bit of an overview before we get into some calculations, some chemical situations.